We're going to be going over a routine review today, and the first exercise is going to be a straight arm crunch. So I'm going to go to 2 black springs on the Megacore. If it's on the Xformer, it's 3 to 4 whites. We're going to be using the short hard handles to the long black straps, and we'll be laying down with our head, shoulders, and back on the machine. The first exercise is a straight arm crunch. From here, the hands go overhead, the legs go long, and then we do V sit-ups, raising the leg up, bringing our hands towards our knees. From here, we drop the cables, either roll off or come up, and then we have to change the springs for our first spring change for a seal, which is pretty difficult. So remember to modify for this one. We're going to be going down to our forearms, knees all the way forward, shins and shoelaces down. We're going to push the carriage back with our knees to lower our hips. And then we inhale to exhale after we engage our core to slowly press through our palms to come up onto our hands like an ab wheel. And then we slowly come down to our forearms. And this is your seal. After this exercise, the last exercise is up on the hands, up on the toes, legs and feet together to push the carriage out into a plank or a push-up. From here, it's going to be a plank to pike panther combo. So we're going to be lifting the hips to bring the carriage in, lowering the hips to send the carriage out, and then bending the knees forward, and then sending the legs back. So again, a combo, up, down, in, and out. And that's the first part of the routine for abdominal and core exercises. I really like it because it incorporates abdominal flexion exercises and then it goes into core so that you get an equal balance of 2 abdominal exercises with 2 core exercises with flexion of the spine while then going into neutral spine. Moving on to legs, we're going to be going into a standing inner thigh first. So we stay on the same spring load as the plank to pike panther combo and the seal. Our feet are side by side, feet forward or feet turned out for more inner thighs. And with a soft bend in both knees, we open the carriage and then we bring the carriage in using our inner thighs. From here, we kneel down and we have to change our springs for a donkey kick using the long straps. So from here, I'll go into a black and a gray or 2 blacks, whichever you prefer. And then let's just start with the left leg. We're going to grab the strap and we're going to place it through our foot left for the camera. We're going to have to move our knees back, knees wide. Holding the sides of the carriage is going to be a little bit better for the wrist than with them on top. Fingers forward because there's a lot of flexion around the wrist. So holding the sides is going to be a little bit more. If I didn't move my knees back, my knees would be too far forward in front of the hip, which may cause some hip tightness. So it's always important to bring the knee all the way under the hips and ensure that you have your knees wide apart because if they're too close together, as soon as you lift one leg up for donkey kick, what's going to happen is when you lift it up, the hip is going to lean out to the side. So separating the knees hip width apart is going to prevent or help not have the hip lean out too far. From this position, we'll lift up the target leg, keeping the right hip above the right knee with our toes down in diagonal like a fire hydrant. And we're going to press back and then bend the knees forward. If for some reason someone had sensitive wrist issues, you could go down to the forearms. A lot of people prefer underneath this strap, even holding onto the edge of the carriage. However, note that there's a give and a take. If you come down to your forearms to do this exercise, it tends to be a little bit more difficult for the hip to stay in line with the knee, the one that's not facing the camera. So what you could do is the opposite hand of the leg with the strap can hold the side of the carriage and then do something like this. And what this is helping me with is that I can lean towards the camera to stack my right knee with my right hip. It's going to be pretty difficult. So remember that it's a give and a take. If you go down to the forearms because you have sensitive wrists, you're going to run the risk of coming down and then doing the exercise with your hip leaned out to one side. After the second leg exercise, we take the strap off, and then we have another spring change back to one gray spring, and we can either kick to the back and get into position, or we can just walk. The third exercise is a well lunge. Because we started with the left, the right hand will pull the carriage strap in, and we'll tuck the right knee against the carriage strap, shins and shoelaces down, left foot into the floor. If you want to make it harder, you can go all the way forward, knee up against the back platform, or a little bit away if you'd like it to be a little lighter. From here, we go into well lunge. You need to make sure that we hinge, because the carriage that this right knee is attached to is also attached to the spring that is pulling us back. So if we do not hinge and we do it in an upright position, everything is pulling against this hip flexor or groin. So hinging is going to take the discomfort or pain out of the hip flexor and really load the target glute and the target hamstring. From here, we let the carriage go. We grab the short colored cables located under the back handlebars, and then we stand up onto the back platform, bicep curl to bring the carriage in, and you have two options. The non-target leg could be on the edge right here of the carriage, or it could be behind the carriage strap. Now, taller people prefer it behind the strap. Shorter people prefer it in front of the carriage, because when a shorter person has their foot against the strap, it pulls the leg back as much as it does when we're in a well lunge with our knee against the strap. So that's why when you place your toe of the non-target leg on the front edge of the carriage here, nothing is pulling the back leg, so that you can focus less on these handles and more on your leg to drive through the heel to come up. And that is your leg block. 2 at the front, 2 at the back. We had 2 pushing exercises, while at the back we had 2 pulling exercises, having to change springs once for the second leg exercise and then changing it again for the next 2 exercises. Now, moving on to obliques. We finished the last leg exercise up top on the back platform using the gray cables. The first oblique exercise is not an oblique exercise, but a seated crunch. We pull the carriage in, we tuck both of our feet underneath the back carriage strap, and legs and feet together, arms out, roll the shoulders back and down, because a lot of people hunch forward like so. And then we extend the leg out 95%, lean back 45 degrees, and we do 2 things. We bend the knees as we lift the chest, bringing the knee and the chest together, and then we lengthen the leg as we lower the chest back to the starting position. After this seated crunch, we let the carriage go, and then we can walk or crawl forward onto the carriage, still on the same spring load, for a twisted plank to pike panther. So I like this because you've already taught everybody how to do it from the front doing the core series, and now you're just teaching them again during the oblique series. The only difference is the legs are twisted, because when you twist or cross one leg over the other, it allows the oblique to be targeted more. Now, be very mindful that this is kind of difficult for people who have tight hips. So let me show you on the camera if the left oblique is the target. We get up into our plank position, and we want to make sure that we say bring the left foot under, right? Under the right leg, but we also want to say in front, because some people might get confused of this instead of under in front of the right leg. Once we cross the legs, the target oblique needs to face the ground. So then we turn our toes to the right. So if the target oblique is the left, remember that we turn the toes the other direction. Now the exercise is a twisted plank to pike, lifting up and lowering down, and then twisted panther, coming in and out. Now doing the plank to pike twisted, pretty easy. I don't have tight hips, but it does feel a little uncomfortable to bend the knees forward with my legs crossed. So what I recommend is, rather than crossing one leg over the other, why not keep the legs and feet together in an untwisted or uncrossed position to help people with tight hips, and give the other one as an option if you wanted to. So what we would do is get into our plank. We would simply turn our toes to the right so that our left oblique faces the floor, and then we plank to pike up, down, and then knees in, and then legs out. Again, up, down, in, and out. And I think that would be a lot better for people who have tight hips, which are a lot of people. After this, we get off the hands and the wrists, so great job for the routine. And we go down to our knees, off of our toes, down to our forearms, off of our hands. And we want to make sure that we push the carriage back first, and then swing our legs off the left side because that's the target oblique, making sure that we're stacking our knees. You can see that only the bottom left knee has contact with the carriage. From here, we lift, round, tuck, and crunch into your side kneeling crunch. After we finish our side kneeling crunch, the next exercise is an oblique side bend. If my left oblique was still the target, because we went from left leg into left oblique, we would use this cable here, the one in front of me, and we would lay down on our side. And this is not an exercise that I teach, and it's not an exercise that's in my level 1, but the left hand, left oblique, left leg is all on top. We lay on our sides into a side plank. We extend our legs out, and I believe the arm is overhead like so. And what we do is we lift the leg, connecting the hand to the feet. And I believe this is the exercise that she wanted to do. This is a lot on the shoulders in this position. I'm on a black spring, and that's lightest for any exercises using this cable. It did require a spring change for this one exercise. After we finish the last oblique exercise, then we go into the other oblique. So we drop this cable, and then we would change our springs back to a light spring load, 1 gray, and then get up onto our hands, up onto our toes, whether we wanted to cross the right leg under in front of the left leg and turn, or keep the leg straight and turn the toes to the left because the right oblique is the target. And we do that plank to pike twisted to that panther twisted. Then down to the knees, down to the forearms, push the carriage back, swing the legs off the right side for your side kneeling crunch. After that, we go to that 1 black spring, and then we have to use the cable towards the sides that we're facing. This will go into my right hand. I'll go down to my left forearm, going into this side plank position, extend my legs out, bring my hand overhead, and then we just fold the body in half as we do this exercise. It's working the left shoulder, right oblique, and that completes the oblique block. Two last exercises for the end of class. This is going to be another spring change. You can go to 1 blue on the Megacore, or you can go to 2 black, 2 gray. I highly suggest a blue spring because she has a row and a bicep curl combo. A lot of people have strong backs when it comes to rows, so that's why I would highly suggest doing a blue and holding the short, hard handles. And if at any time it gets too difficult, they could always switch to the long black strap, and that would make it extremely lighter quickly. Now, from here, we're going to sit in the middle of our carriage, depending on our height. I prefer the feet under the straps for a little bit support, leaning back to a 45-degree angle in order to get a little bit more core. And I'm guessing because she wants a bicep curl combo, the palms would be facing up. So 45 degrees, we row inwards, and then we have our arms go out, and then we bicep curl. So this is a row into a bicep curl. I don't think that it would make a lot of sense if the palms were down to row, but you could have that rotational twist. You can see that my palms are down as I row, and as my arms go forward, I flip my palms up for the bicep curl. After the bicep curl, turn the palm down and then row. But I think that keeping the palms up for both is going to be a lot faster and more time under tension. From this, we go ahead and drop the cables, and we have to again change the springs to 3 to 4 gray springs. On the Megacore, there's only 3 grays. So if it was 4, you would go to 1 black and 1 gray. After we have our spring changed, she wanted to do a hamstring curl. This requires both handlebars to be turned in. And then I always say scoot all the way forward, swing your legs over the bars, and then pull yourself forward. Once you lay down, we're going to place the heels up onto the bars, push through the heels up into a glute bridge, making sure that we tuck the tailbone, and then we're going to perform that hamstring curl, going back and forward. And if you need any help, push your elbows into the carriage, palms and hands up like the robot dance. And this is going to give you a lot of leverage or support to go back and forward, and keep your hips lifted by pushing through the elbows. If I had to change anything, I think that the abdominal or the core block is all right with me. We start with 2 abdominal exercises into 2 core exercises. And from there, because the standing inner thigh is on a white spring, this one here, and then because the other exercises at the back are 1 gray for this one, 1 gray for this one, but the second exercise required a spring change, which was just for the strap in the foot doing the donkey kick. I would remove that completely so that you would have 2 less spring changes for both leg blocks. So if you wanted to, after you do your standing inner thigh, you have many options. You could do a platform lunge, which is what I would do, because if you do a platform lunge at the front, that's a pushing exercise. And then you end at the back doing a back platform lunge, back reverse to be specific. And this is a pulling exercise. And it makes it easy for people because they've already done it once at the front. They'll kind of get it again at the back. So that would be my go-to. It would be a standing inner thigh, pivot to face forward into a platform lunge, then going into the well and performing a well lunge, and then standing up using the gray cables into the back lunge. So this would kind of be like a lunge day with a little bit of inner thighs. If you didn't know, the lower you go in a lunge or a squat, you're likely to activate and work more of the inner thighs. So it could be an inner thigh lunge day. Now, I'm not a fan of teaching lunges back to back because it may agitate people's hip flexors or their lower back. Therefore, if I made this routine for myself, what I would do is I would do a platform lunge first. After the platform lunge, and the deeper you go in it, you warm up your inner thighs. Then you would stand up and then simply bring your feet and legs together to perform a standing inner thigh. Then go to the back into the well lunge. So that way you did a lunge, something else into a lunge, so it's not back to back. And then instead of standing up and using both these cables, I would only use one. And I would change it to a single leg squat. That way it's lunge, standing inner thigh, lunge, and then we do a little squat so that you don't do lunges after lunges, which may irritate the hip flexors. If you teach the single leg squat at the back, a lot of people tend to hold the short handle, but it makes the cable much too long that people's elbows are bent and they feel it in their upper shoulders or arms. So I like to hold it down lower with my palm gripping it. And this keeps my arm long instead of having a bent elbow. And if you need balance, you can always bring your arms out to the side. From here, we would just come down, hang up the cable, and then go to the front again and do the platform lunge, then the standing inner thigh, and then move to the back for the well lunge into the single leg squat. So at least when we're moving a direction, at least we're doing 2 exercises instead of just going to the back or the front for 1. Now that completes the leg block. Now let's talk about the obliques, because you do finish in the back. I wouldn't bother doing the seated crunch because we've already done core and abdominals in the front. So for this exercise, I would just scrap it completely. And when I'm done, I would just let go forward. I wouldn't cross my legs. I would do the twisted plank to pike into the twisted panther, go down to the knees and the forearms to push the carriage back, swing the legs off the side, and then do the side kneeling crunch. And then from there, I would just go into the other side and do the same 2 oblique exercises again. I wouldn't go into the one where we laid into a side plank like so, bringing the arms overhead and doing this oblique V-up, because it causes you to change the springs for 1 exercise. So if we were to remove this, we would have, again, 2 less spring changes, which is amazing because you typically only want about 5 spring changes for each exercise routine. So that way people are working out longer and more time under tension. So I would make up for it to then go to upper body, because there was only 1 upper body exercise. And then he went, and then they went into a hamstring curl, which is another leg exercise. I would still make sure that I give enough upper body. So because we didn't do the seated crunch and we didn't do the side plank V-up like this, we have 3 exercises. So after you finish obliques, I would just go to 1 black. If you wanted more, you can do a black and a gray. And then we would just use both the cables to do 3 upper body exercises. My go-to every time I teach upper body is a chest expansion, because of the fact that it opens the chest and it fixes the posture. Because I'm pushing my palms behind me, the second upper body exercise would probably be a bicep curl, pulling the cables towards my body, a different angle. And then I would finish with, again, another one from behind in a hinge, and we would go into tricep kickback, looking into the well so that we don't tuck the chin or hyperextend our neck. And from there, we wouldn't need a spring change. All we would have to do is turn the handlebars inwards and then lay down and then get into a glute bridge and finish up. And then after this exercise, you would just lay down. You could hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side. We could put the feet on the bar, and we could just walk 1 heel under at a time, stretching out our calves and our legs. And then we could roll off if we wanted to, and then go into child's pose. I would highly suggest, since we did lunges and inner thighs, to do splits to stretch like so, and then switch to the other side, going into your splits to really stretch the inner thighs and the hamstrings, which to work out today. And that is my review of this routine.